What's up, Sooner Nation? You already know Chris with a K here with Mr. Sooner 360 himself, Chris Mason. Chris Mason has a really cool recruiting. He has the website, he has the Patreon, he has all those different things. So definitely go and follow him on X and all the rest of those different things, all those platforms, and subscribe to the Patreon as well. It's only $2, people, $2. So you can get all this information that we're about to go through now and more, of course. And obviously he drops a pod as well. But this is something that we've been doing every Monday. And we've been doing this honestly since last year, since we linked up. So just trying to get some recruiting notes or whatnot, kind of read through the tea leaves, talk about stuff, no fluff, just straight facts and just kind of careful observations as far as how we see it. So that being said, Chris Mason, how you doing, man?
OU's 4-0, and OU had another big recruiting weekend. So I'm doing good. I got stuff to talk about.
Yeah, that's all that matters, man. You know, people, I couldn't help but stress the importance of going into this bye week 4-0, man. That's really all that mattered, man. It is huge to go into the bye week 4-0. Everybody's feeling good about themselves. A lot of work to do for this team. Still haven't peaked yet. Still haven't played the perfect game or the best game out there, and that's what's scary about this squad. So definitely happy with Team 131 thus far. We've been here before, 4-0, ranked inside the top 10, let down games, all types of stuff or whatever. But man, if you're feeling like I am, this team is feeling a little bit different. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get here because, like I said, we're here for a good time, not a long time. So definitely want to keep this one short, to the money. Chris Mason, what's going on? It seems like we have some we've been fonged a couple of instances recently. So enlighten us.
Yeah, we have four fong bombs or been fonged or however you want to describe it or call that. Two of them I kind of expected. Well, actually, he did three of them. Plus, we have one from Josh McQuistion on Sooner Scoop for the other one. So we have four predictions for OU. The first two are 2026 players, both who visited officially this weekend for the Auburn game. The first one is Jacob Curry, a linebacker from Miami. Now, the three-star U crowd all freaked out when OU offered this kid. Like, why are we offering another three-star kid? Why are we offering another three-star kid? You know, that nonsense. And since OU offered him, Ohio State, Miami, and FSU offered him. So, and he got moved to the top 200 when Rivals redid their rankings. So maybe, just maybe, when it comes to scouting and evaluation, Mr. Nagy and our linebacker group of Dreiling and Coach Venables know what the hell they're doing. So he visited. He had a really good visit. Wilfong put in a prediction from the Choose OU. Like I said, Ohio State and FSU are trying to make this more difficult, plus Miami. We'll see how many more additional visits he takes. But for right now, the information from the recruiting network seems to think OU is going to win that battle. Then Braden Allen from Louisiana, the Tulane verbal commitment, 6'2", 190-pound wide receiver, looks really good on film. I'll take a wide receiver from Louisiana, anyone that we can actually get. OU made a big push to make him the third wide receiver in the class. Josh McQuistion thinks that's going to happen. I trust Josh when he's willing to put in a prediction. I'll trust that. Ole Miss and Colorado are also pushing for visits, but right now it looks like OU's got some predictions their way. Now, the other two guys that were predicted were a little interesting. They were 2027 kids. The first one is Caden Perry, who was on campus this weekend again. He's from the Tulsa area. He's an offensive guard. He's ranked in the top 50 in the nation by Rivals. He's 6'4", 285. Fantastic summer camp at OU. He's been back to OU any number of times. So that was a prediction. And then Jackson Roper, a big offensive tackle, offensive guard from Colorado, was picked to choose OU. He's 6'5", 300. He also camped at OU this summer, was dominant at OU summer camp, and he's a 3-star right now. But Chris, he has offers from Ohio State, Alabama, and Michigan. So tell me that's an offensive line. Tell me that's a 3-star player.
Yeah.
And he's been projected to choose OU as well. OU already has Luke Wilson in the 2027 class. So if you were to pick up Perry and Roper, adding it to Wilson, and OU is still very much recruiting Cooper Hackett, that recruiting battle is not going to stop. He was back on campus again this weekend in an OU polo. If he's committed to Texas Tech and really committed to Texas Tech, why is he showing up every week in OU colors at OU home games, Chris? So I think OU's working very hard to flip this situation. Topher B, yep, I've watched his film. The kid's a big, physical right tackle, could be an offensive guard in the same way, very similar to Deacon Schmidt, who's also from Colorado. It's very easy to see why OU likes this kid. Caden Perry he's an offensive guard, but again, he could also play right tackle if you needed him to. But if you could pick up those 3 kids and continue to recruit Hackett, and I've got a couple other names to talk about it on the offensive line, at least one more to talk about, you would have the makings of a great 2027 offensive line class.
So,
Benji, when I have the money to when I have the money to tile everything.
hey, subscribe to the Patreon. Quick plug right there. Hey,
Patreon.
real quick. So Chris Mason last year, guys, when we do the pre-show or when we would talk behind the green screen after the show was done, Chris Mason would always be like, "Hey man," I'm like, "Hey, what you think about Zach Alley today?" So not a lot, man. It's not doing anything on recruiting for me. I can't like you if you don't recruit. And so I know with Dreiling, it was kind of like, I mean, it's a good hire, it's a solid hire, but it seems like he has been him and Goodwin as well. It's, I mean, just having those 2 guys there, 2 former DCs, guys who probably should get looks at, either a higher echelon DC positions, or even, maybe at a small school or another, maybe lesser D1 school, maybe probably get a head coaching nod or so. I mean, hell, they've been successful at most of their stops. We see what Clemson is without BV and Goodwin right now. So it is what it is. But just, all in all, it seems like, the recruiting in the linebacking room is better than what it has been. So
yeah, I think we need to prepare ourselves. This is not a recruiting topic, but our D-line, our defensive staff is going to get poached at some point. Yeah, we're playing too good a defense, too good a recruiters, too good position coaches. At some point, someone's going to come with a lot of money and a promotion for somebody on our defensive staff. It's just a matter of time. So, could be anywhere on the defensive staff. But yeah, I'm Dreiling versus Zach Alley. It's night and day in the linebacker recruiting, and I can talk about a name in one of our next topics if you like. I'm talking about linebacker recruiting. So
yeah, go for it. If you want to answer this question too, you can real quick.
Yeah. So OU Revenge Tour. OU is making a massive push in California. Epps is obviously a big edge rusher from California, really good on film. He's been talking about making an OU visit. I think if you just watch our defensive end room and watch the way the guys love playing for Chavis. Chavis is an excellent recruiter. I think everyone has always wondered a little bit, can he develop guys? And if you have a problem with the development going on at defensive end right now, I'm not sure you're watching the same football team that I am. So, you are Mason Thomas, you just watched the transformation in Marvin Jones Jr. in 6 months in terms of Chavis just getting his motor up and getting his emotion. I mean, if you watch his emotion during the game, the way he's playing right now, I think you've got to give Chavis a lot of props there, a lot of flowers for that. So I think if I'm Texas, the last thing I want to hear is a defensive end from California that's Stacy Ford, part of Nagy's staff from UCLA. Obviously, Stacy Ford, that's an under the radar hire that didn't get a lot of exposure when Nagy's hired him away from UCLA. Obviously, Stacy Ford took one look at the Deshaun Foster situation and the situation in the UCLA athletic department, and when OU threw him a life preserver, he grabbed it and got on the first plane to Norman. So Tavon Epps, that could be a guy at defensive end that OU looks at. And if I'm Texas, I don't like the thought of him being, the Ole Miss game. Our Mason Thomas is going to be 4 quarters of going after Chambly. What is it? Trinidad? Is it Trinidad Chambliss? Chambliss Trinidad? If he's still the quarterback, that our defensive ends are going to be headhunting the Ole Miss quarterbacks for 4 quarters. So if I'm Texas, I don't really want Epps being in Norman, especially if OU was to take care of business in Dallas and then take care of business in Columbia. I don't think you want any of your top players being in Norman, especially on defense. But yeah, it's a good move for OU. But like Benji says, it's 2027, kids. It's early. We'll see. But OU could make a dent here. And if you're Texas, you never like hearing. It's the same thing for OU. You never like hearing that your top kids are visiting elsewhere. It's never what you want to hear. So, Chris, there are 4 names, I think, that visited over the weekend that I just want to highlight. There's a lot of players that visited, but I'll give you 4 names to track. The first name is, and I'm going to hold back on a tight end because I want to talk tight end recruiting in just a minute.
Gotcha.
So the first name is Colton McComb. He's a New Mexico linebacker, 6'3", 215, 220. Physical, athletic, big hitter, fits the profile of what OU wants at Mike linebacker. Then there was a running back visiting from the Waco area. Again, 2027. Lathan Wizington, I think I'm saying that, or Wizington. 6 foot, 200 pounds, has an OU offer. Just watched his junior film that just dropped, first 4 games. He is running through trash. He is physical, and he is taking runs to the end zone. Very natural in the way he's reading the gaps and reading the lanes. Really good-looking film, and Chris, he runs through a lot of trash. Hard to tackle, physical, and then when he breaks through, no one's catching him. So he looks like he's a 4-star top 300 range. I think he's going to vault up the rankings down the road. Another 2028 name to watch is Breck Brady was on campus. He doesn't yet have an OU offer, but Chris K., do you remember Ricky Brady in the 90s for OU? Is that before your time?
That's a little bit before my time.
All right. So in the 1990s, during the Gary Gibbs era and the Cale Gundy era, OU had an old Big 8 tight end named Ricky Brady, 6'5", 250, played on some crappy ass teams. Would have loved to have seen him on some of the better Bob teams, but he was a great player for OU on bad teams. Well, guess what? He has a son named Breck Brady, who is right now as a part of the 2028 class. He's 6'5", 240, maybe 245. Already watched. Soon the legend says, I remember Ricky Brady. Ricky Brady had like 3 touchdowns in a bowl game against Virginia, where Cale broke a couple of records and we just dominated. So Breck is his son. I watched his freshman film, and he's already posted some of his sophomore film. Massive improvement. His freshman film is just this big lumbering kid, and then his sophomore film, he's grown into his frame. He's explosive. He's athletic. He could be a tight end. He could be a defensive end. He could grow into a defensive tackle. So it was great seeing him on campus. An OU offer it's just a matter of time before before that happens. Then back to 2027, one of the visitors was Kyler Kuhn from Kansas. He's a 4-star, top 200 player in the nation, 6'4", 290, offensive guard, really good film. Seems to really like OU. And then a last name for you from that group of players that was visiting is Terrence Evans, 2028 player, already has an OU offer. He's a 6'3", 320-pound nose guard from Tulsa Union, back on campus, sort of the target defensive lineman in state for the 2028 class, at least right now. Again, he's that big, he'll be the big nose guard that, this defense definitely needs and uses. So those are 4 guys that visited over the weekend, skipping the tight end that I want to talk about. So.
No, go into it. Go into the tight ends.
Okay, so everybody, Chris will tell you, no one has kicked sand and dirt at Joe Jon Finley more in recruiting and how the tight end position plays than I have, right? Last year in recruiting. So the first thing to talk about is obviously Jaren Kanek's playing great. What level of credit you want to give Joe Jon Finley, that is up to you guys. But I can tell you that it's making a difference in recruiting, and the tight end play is being noticed. So first off, Ryder Mix and Tyler Ruxer are having excellent starts to their senior years. Ruxer had like 125 yards and 2 touchdowns over the weekend. And Mix, I think, had like another 3-4 catch day, 100 yards, couple of TDs. So they're both having, those are great evaluations and really big verbals. Both kids are true two-way tight ends. They're going to be 6'4", 240, 245, run, they both block very well right now. Mix really kind of puts people on their ass. Ruxer does it as well. Ruxer's a little faster, but they're both really good-looking tight ends. So the tight end room's about to get an infusion of true high school tight ends, okay? Now, again, Kanek is leading the nation in tight end receptions or something like that. He's Pro Football Focus's number 2 tight end in the country, I think, or number 3 behind the Vandy kid who was the Eli, is it Eli Stover, is that right? Stower, who was the Denton quarterback who moved to tight end at Vandy. But OU on campus had the number 3 tight end in the country for 2027, Seneca Driver, 6'7", 235 from Kentucky, top 50, top 75 player in the nation, depending upon what service you're looking at. The guy is like a Jermaine Gresham tight end. When you watch him play, you just throw him the ball, he posts up safeties, throws them to the ground, and then runs for touchdowns. He's exactly what you want in a tight end. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he's in Norman right after Kanek's had the best 3 days from an OU tight end since Mark Andrews. I think that's probably safe to say. So tight end recruiting, is going well. Also, the Hawk kid from Choctaw has been to 2 OU games as well. But Seneca Driver, if you could make a move there, he's elite looking. I watch a lot of film, and sometimes it's like, okay, is that guy good? Is that guy good? And sometimes, there's film like David Stone's film from IMG, or there's Jake Krull's film from IMG, to use 2 kind of examples, where you just put the tape on and you're like, okay, we should offer that guy. But this is a 35-second highlight offer the guy kind of tape that he has. He's a power forward playing tight end. He fits that mold completely. So hopefully, and he said he loved his OU visit, loved how Arbuckle was using the tight end. And, if Kanek continues doing this, and playing like this. Topher B, yep, I've heard that as well. I'm not sure why Skip Johnson hasn't offered him in baseball yet, but Skip's running a good program, getting verbals left and right. So I think OU will sit down and make that decision as soon as possible. But Seneca he's an elite looking tight end. And I think I was listening to Todd McShay's show. Todd McShay, now that he's no longer with ESPN, has kind of unleashed Todd McShay a little bit. He's a little more, he seems to be a little more off the cuff and he seemed very buttoned down and boring at ESPN. Now that he's doing his own podcast.
No, he's a
lot more colorful, a lot more interesting, and a lot more genuine with his beliefs. He was talking about Jaren Kanak. If Kanak keeps this up, he's going to be like a 3rd or 4th round pick. And that seems silly to say in August, but NFL guys are noticing him. And we know that, the NFL matchup tight end problems, that's what the NFL wants from that instance. So keep an eye out for the Seneca driver being interested in OU. Obviously, Ben Kolar at Norman North is interested in OU, but tight end recruiting may hit a different level where it's like, okay, well, how do we, Tyler Ruxer's a top 200 tight end. If you could stay with Seneca driver down the line, maybe you get him. At some point, you're just going to have to just take the kick me sign off the back of Joe John Finley.
Let's switch gears real quick because I know. Let's see. I know. Yeah, there he is. Ugg says Allen Kidd, the wide receiver. What's the news?
I think OU's going to land him. It's just a question of what happens and when does it fit? Does he take more visits or does he decide to shut things down and choose OU? Because obviously, one thing at wide receiver to keep an eye on is, the Billy Napier death watch obviously has some level of impact maybe on Davion Gross as well, on some level, I would think.
Well, what do you think that he may be looking elsewhere? Because, hell, Summerall's been tied to a whole bunch of jobs. Hell, Florida is one of them. I believe in my heart of hearts, he's probably that Florida job. You could say, hey, maybe he gets a look. I've heard Okie Light too. I've heard people talk about that maybe, but there's other people that supposedly
and then there's
had to deal with. Go ahead.
And then there's the folks who think that Beamer is going to go to Va-Tech and then South Carolina could be open.
Yeah.
Also, I think Wisconsin's going to be open. I'm not sure how good a job that is, but there's obviously some tradition there, and being in the Big Ten and a big program with a lot of support, big alumni base, is entirely possible. Topher B asked about Milan Paris. OU officially offered him. For those that don't know, he's from Ohio, 6'5", 200 pounds, Iowa State verbal commitment, really good on film. We know that Iowa State does a good job developing big wide receivers. They just put 2 in the NFL last year. So, and they've done a good job mining talent. So if you wanted to steal a wide receiver, again, if you're going to take a kid from Louisiana, they're not all going to be Justin Jefferson, but, Justin Jefferson was like a 2-star nobody. Milan Paris would be somebody I think OU would want to take a look at. Also, it looks like Johnny Jones, the big offensive tackle from Bradenton, Florida, that was verbal to UCLA, is going to take an OU official visit. Hasn't been scheduled yet. But again, as I've mentioned on this podcast a number of times, OU has good visit weekends coming up. Ole Miss, Missouri, LSU. We can get kids back on campus for national games. As long as OU keeps winning, every one of those is going to be a primetime national game. And so we get 27 kids coming in for unofficials, and we can get 26 kids we like on campus for official visits.
So two players in his 26 class that I want to talk about. So first off, Benji, I know this is just a kind of a joke, but I mean, hell, KJ Ford. I mean, do you circle back with him, or are you done on the D line? Second off, go to Johnny Jones. People are in here talking about him as well.
Yeah, I just mentioned Johnny Jones. I think
Oh.
OU gets an official visit. He's the big offensive tackle that was verbal to UCLA. I think OU is going to ride the Jones thing as hard as they can before offering Daniel McMorris. So I think that's one of the things that could be impacting the Daniel McMorris, who's the offensive tackle from Norman North, that OU hasn't quite offered yet. And I think it's because of Johnny Jones being back on the market. OU wants to grab him. He's a left tackle. You've got Deacon Schmidt at right tackle. Noah Best inside. We need another interior player. OU has a couple of names that they're looking at. If the follows from recent follow activity comes true, we'll see what happens there. OU seems to be still looking for maybe another safety or cornerback. One name to think about if the Florida thing completely implodes is Caden. Forgetting his name. He's the safety that's committed to Florida that OU is heavily after. They haven't used their official visit yet, so they have a chance. Big kid, 6'3", 200 pounds, could be a cheetah, could be a every down safety. Caden Hall, thank you, Topher B, for pulling that. Caden Hall would be another name to look at. OU's got some slots, right?
But again, what about KJ Ford? I know people are interested in that. If it implodes down there, at which it looks like he's a marked man.
Well,
what do we do?
Okay, so does the chat want KJ Ford, or are we gonna save Taj Overton from having to go to Aggie Land? Which one do you want? Do you want to, because his senior film was posted and he looks pretty good. So do you want Taj Overton or do you want KJ Ford? Do you want a defensive tackle or do you want a defensive end? If you're going to take one more D-line spot, is it at end or tackle?
Chat, go ahead. Obviously, Benji is saying, please take KJ Ford. He will be off. Go. Yeah,
Biggie. OU for 2027, I think we'll want to take 2 tight ends and restock that room. Ben Kohler is definitely one of them. So,
real quick, Topher B. I think this is a very underrated comment as well. Arkansas commits.
They are watching an Arkansas commit as an offensive lineman. They got from Georgia, from Buford, a program that just produces ridiculous talent. He's an interior player, probably. And they are watching him. His name's Ben Mabuga. So they're watching him. They didn't get Bryce Gilmore. I was mad about that. But Tech is just throwing stupid money around. It's getting to be a problem. Everybody had no one's asked about Jalen Brewster because we all know he's going to verbal to Tech October 3rd, and then OU's going to have to do what they're doing with Cooper Hackett and cycle back and just wear down that. And Nagy's going to have to evaluate, and then authorize a big dollar number to try and pull them away from Tech. That's where we are with Cooper Hackett. Nagy just is like, guys, I just need some junior film to justify giving him all this money. So I think that's what's happening there. All right, Jimmy Satterfield asked 2026 quarterback news. That was the last topic. No offers so far. I think offers will go out this week. Ben Arbuckle can sit down with Nagy and his staff, look at film, and decide what to do there. Several recruiting websites are talking about OU trying to make a move with Kavion Bryant. I can confirm from my sources that OU has been in contact with Kavion Bryant, and so far those conversations have gone well. He's the number 2 or number 1 quarterback in the 2027 class. He's from Texas. He's from Palestine, I believe, which I seem to recall, Chris, that was there like a successful Sooner from Palestine, Texas, perhaps?
Very successful.
So someone maybe who goes by the initials AD, perhaps?
All day.
So OU's going to make a push there. Last week, some names came over from one of our chatters gave me the name of Weston Nielsen from Louisiana. I said I'd look at the film. I did. He's getting big stats. His film's very interesting. Good mobility, good arm. I also looked at Gunnar Rivers' film, Phillip Rivers' kid. He's from Alabama, looking at Auburn and a couple other places. I think there's some hints of Bo Bentley kind of to his game, so I think OU could make an offer there. But what my sources have told me is that Arbuckle is basically sitting back, going to evaluate what he's going to evaluate and go after who he wants. So be prepared to see OU making some offers, I think, in the next 10 days. Try and get some kids on campus for Ole Miss, for the Ole Miss game, and maybe the Missouri game from an unofficial standpoint. So Topher B, you saying Texas Tech offered Brewster's brother? Well, Ohio State just took a verbal commitment from Jeremiah Smith's brother. So I guess that's one way to handle it. We'll see. But I think there's a good chance that if things continue trending the way they are going with our on-the-field play, that Todd Bates is going to have a very strong argument for Mr. Brewster about why he should be the next great defensive tackle in Norman, and Nagy's going to come through with the money to back that up. Because when you're building an NFL roster, elite defensive tackles get the money, right?
And it's kind of proven itself on the field this year. We got 4 guys that are, awesome. Let's just be real. That whole D line, but those 4 guys in the interior are causing hell for people. So.
Yeah, it's and just so everyone knows, Trent Wilson and Nigel Smith are coming.
Yeah.
The words behind the scenes are they're not playing because they can't get them on the field, but under no circumstances are they disappointed in the development of Nigel Smith and Trent Wilson. Those kids are coming next year, and they're both. Trent Wilson was a huge pickup last year, and Nigel Smith's potential at defensive tackle is sky high. So basically, OU's in the 15, 16, 17 range right now, 15 to 20 in terms of their 2026 class. If they add Curry, that will help. He's a 4-star on Rivals. He's ranked highly on Rivals. If they were to add Allen, it's not going to move the needle that much. If they added Johnny Jones, that would help greatly. Some of the OU players are having very good senior years. We just need to see if they're going to get reevaluated and moved up. Brian Harris, if you watch the stuff he's posting online, he looks incredible. James Carrington is having a great senior year. Tyler Ruxer's having a great senior year. So is Ryder Mix. Noah Best appears to be. Deacon Schmidt. These are guys that all should be moving up. The one guy right now, Jimmy, I'm with you. Curry, I told you Curry's tape was good. Curry's a dude. He's a redheaded linebacker, but the kid flies around. He's a will linebacker in the OU scheme and would be an every down guy. So the name I'm wondering about what's going on right now is Bo Jandro. He hasn't played yet. He was the guy I thought was going to move up the most based upon all the coaches saying he was a great linebacker, great inside linebacker, best inside linebacker on the West Coast. He's not played. He was injured last year, hoping that he's going to start getting some tape, getting some film out there so that he can get reevaluated and move up from his current 1,000 ranking and move up. His brother Nico's playing, and he's playing well. He's a niche prospect. He's a tweener, but for OU, he fits exactly what we need at Cheetah. So, but Bo Jandro is the linebacker we need to be playing better. Well, we just need to play. I need to play. I need to see some film. But other than that, we're not. OU's not moving into the top 10. It's just not happening. You'd have to get 4 or 5 top 100 guys to flip to them. So we'd be talking Johnny Jones, KJ Ford, Davion Gross, Hatton, and someone else to really move OU closer to the top 10. So it's going to be 15 to 20 if things stay the same. If they move OU verbals up, which they should, OU could get into like the 10 to 15 territory. So.
All right, folks. Look, we've been in here for about 35 minutes. You know, we keep these pods short and sweet and to the point. So there's your recruiting news for the week. We will be back Thursday with Jason, obviously, for the Sooners Intel Show full. Oh, yeah, tomorrow, check us out. I think Chris Mason and I will be on the full reveal show. I know it kind of leaked today, but we will be on the full reveal of the SEC schedules tomorrow. We'll be talking with Oni Kuno. So definitely go out there to Sean's check out Sean's show tomorrow. We'll be on there with him, so we'll feature on there with him. We'll get that time and all the rest of the stuff tweeted out for you guys. But with that being said, Unc said, "Hey, Bevo's bodyguard is still alive. I saw him posting on Orange Bloods today. People, I'll be honest with you, he is still alive because he commented last week on the show." He commented this past Saturday. He said, OU needed Bush League trick plays and bias refs to barely beat Auburn at home. See you in Dallas. Bevo's bodyguard, when you watch this video, I want you to do something, okay? I want you to take your left hand and I want you to take your right hand. You pick which three fingers you want to put in your ass because that's exactly what you need to pull out right now. All right? It's nothing but just bullshit coming out of your mouth, okay? We're tired of you. Please come back to the show. We try to see you. We try to talk to you. We try to have a discourse, okay? That's what we do here. But anyways, people, with that being said, we are out of here.